How do I don't want to get into a racial debate on Facebook Live,
Considering
but
I'm Filipino
how
too.
do Filipino men? How do they get deep facial hair? Do they get not much at all?
No.
Okay.
Charlie doesn't, because you know my brother.
I do
He
know.
does
I've
not.
never seen him
he,
bearded.
he can't grow a beard, and if he does, it's like in patches. And then my boys, even though that they're half American and half Filipino, they can't. Brady will grow in patches, my oldest one, but my son, he's like full. So
Full-
that must
full
be
beard?
the American in him.
The Caucasian
But yes,
side.
but Charlie, no, he's patchy,
Patchy.
so he can never.
So it's Charlie. He's not on this group. He'll never see
I
this.
don't know. It's
So-
like everybody probably feels like they know Charlie. It's either we're nice or we're mean.
No, I love Charles. I haven't seen him in forever. So not anything we're actually going to talk about today.
Why are you so big here? Scoot back.
Now I feel
We
tiny.
can't see your head. You're like chopped.
That's for the best. Let them think I have hair. So real quick, I forget who asked the question, but listen, flu season, people have been sick. We've had some really gnarly weather the past few. We don't want you guys going out in bad weather, even though we're always there. If you missed a week, it's not a big deal. We build that in. And let's say if you miss a week and you're like have a vacation scheduled, just get with
that was
me.
me.
Yeah, right. Just get with me. We can talk about making up some of those sessions. We're reasonable. We want to work around your schedule as best we can. So don't stress that out too much. You can absolutely do that. So what we wanted to talk about today, because you guys aren't asking enough questions, we're creeping. We're looking at other people's posts and the like. I wanted to address actually Christine. You know we love you. Christine saw you last night watching your husband sweat. I don't know what that was about.
Miss Billboard.
Miss Billboard. She is on the Billboard. Christine, and also has been first, second, and third all in these 6-week challenges. So
Trifecta.
yeah, she is the trifecta. So
Why'd
Christine,
you touch your nose after I touched my nose?
subconscious. This week marks the halfway point. How is everyone feeling? Stronger? Good question. Me, I'm struggling. I was sick most of last week, which took a toll on everything.
You were sick too?
I don't get sick.
Oh.
Sick gets me. This week, I'm back on track with workouts, but now I've had pain issues and I feel like I'm falling apart.
Oh, you're reading.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
I was like, what?
Reading. That was from Christine, somebody walking in. So let's just address a couple things here. Number one, we are in week 3, and I do find the halfway point of just about anything, and I don't know if it's necessarily time, or if it's that, like, we're not quite halfway yet.
Keep talking.
They can come on in. They can come to the party. We'll ask them questions. Halfway point seems to be hard for everybody, because we're still a good deal away.
It's Chewy.
However, come on, puppy!
That's Chewy.
Good boy, puppy.
This is Chewy, the store mascot.
Okay, so can
Say
you
hi,
sit on my
Chewy.
lap?
Hey, Chewy.
Wait.
He scratches
so-
at my door because he loves me.
Oh, he's so cute. We're at the running center. Give them I bought shoes from them last week. to
Shop
help out
local.
them. Yeah, shop local.
Chewy will say hi.
And so you're only about halfway there. It can be a little discouraging too, especially if we notice the needle not really turning. You know, I posted earlier this week saying that always take your second weigh in with a grain of salt. It's not mandatory, and there are a few reasons. A lot of physiological changes can happen when we make significant change, so it takes time, right? I've known people to go 4, 5, 6 weeks, and they are in a bit of a caloric deficit. They are being consistent with their eating well. They are working out hard, and they don't notice the changes they want right away. But if they champ it out, if they continue on, it does begin to cascade. It does begin to fall. So you are halfway there, just about halfway there at the end of this week. So just stay the course. Dealing with sickness, it's just part of life. So just you can't necessarily plan for it, but accept it. It's okay. It's okay to treat yourself a little bit on those days too. It's okay to go off the wagon. And what's your opinion there? Comfort food when ill.
No.
No?
No.
Sorry, me. I'm just like
No. And
No?
the reason why, I'll use myself as a perfect
Okay.
example, because last week I literally felt like I was on my deathbed.
Mhm.
And I knew I was going to be traveling to Florida to go take my girls trip, but we were running a race.
Yeah, okay, that's
So
important to
what
know.
I did, I kept up with my nutrition. Even though I was feeling very fatigued, I had the flu-like symptoms, I kept eating really, really well, and it actually benefited me, even though my lungs were burning while I was running, but my nutrition really did carry me through.
Okay,
So,
good point,
yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I should rephrase. I understand and sometimes indulge now. If I had a race coming up, I might view that a little bit differently. But the point I want to get across is if you did go off course a little bit while ill, don't stress it. It's
No,
the past.
yeah.
You can't do anything about
Right,
that.
right.
Nobody's going to judge you for having that high sodium chicken noodle soup. All right, except maybe Emily apparently.
You would. Ooh, sorry.
So, but getting off track is just another opportunity to get back on track. You know, you have a plan, stick with the plan.
Chewy smells your dogs.
Probably, yeah. A couple of them in bed with me this morning. One of them was gassy.
It was Logan.
But true story. It's great having 4 dogs. Well, I have 4 dogs, so I can blame the flatulence. But it's okay to get off course. It's an opportunity to get back on course. And every time you get back on that horse, it's that much easier to do it. All right, so if you're having a hard time here, if you've fallen off because of illness, injury, whatever, it's cool. It's cool. Addressing that injury component, I know you got an issue with your wrist. Communicate with your trainer. Rest, rest, rest. And when I say rest, I don't mean rest entirely. I mean rest the area that's hurting, right? If it's actual pain, probably shouldn't just use that area at all. That's very important to communicate to your trainer. Hey, my shoulder hurts. Hey, my he went out. Hey, my arm hurts. And it is our job to adapt and help you overcome that. And a lot of times that means, hey, we'll just do a single arm stuff. Your body's got this really cool mechanism that helps to keep equilibrium. So if you've ever noticed someone in a cast, they go to a physical therapist, guess what they are instructed? They're instructed to work out the non-casted side, because by working out that non-injured area, they will help maintain muscle in the area that is injured. So it's important, just because something hurts doesn't mean to avoid exercise as a whole. It means to adapt, work around it, work the other side as opposed to that side. And if you don't rest, understand it can become a chronic injury. And preaching to a choir, I've got a few on my own. It's not worth it. You know, take the time, rest the area that's injured, and then, you know, live to fight another day. Now, you were injured. You rolled your ankle twice. What was your strategy?
I didn't rest. I rested my injured side, but I kept building the other side because I knew I had a race coming up. So I knew if I rested too long, then I would decrease my stamina. So I kept going, and it was things like not running on the treadmill. What I did, I got on the Octane fitness machine and
adapted,
kept myself going.
No pain there.
Yep. Nope.
No,
not
that
at all.
helped you maintain it.
But it helped from the constant hitting
the impact.
Yes. So I had like soft surface on the Octane machine.
Well, and 2, you were pretty near your goal, so there probably wasn't a lot more progression that you would have done, and you wouldn't have improved that much if you had tried to, you know, keep running on that injured leg. So that was smart. You did decide to run on the injured leg race day.
I did. And I was fine. If anything, it was my cold that was bothering the most. My lungs were burning, and I finished second place. In Florida. So that was really cool.
That's a lot. How many people ran?
I don't even know.
Did you know the first place person?
Yeah, it's my friend Angela, the one that was in the picture on my Facebook.
Yeah, okay. You went down together?
Yes, there were 6 of us that all went together.
2 of you took
and everybody placed. And one of my friends, she ran the marathon, and it was her 99th marathon. She runs her 100th one in Boston.
2,600. Was she qualified?
Oh, yeah.
2,600 miles of running just in race. So you have to understand that too. And I don't know what's the, and not everybody wants to talk race shop, but how much running do you do in preparation for a marathon? So when's training begin? Roughly 16 weeks out?
Yeah.
Right? And you start off probably running about a marathon a week, and then as you know, you get into month 2, 3, 4, that increases up to probably somewhere around 30 to 40 miles a week.
I think the most mileage I did was 50. But that's when I was, and that was later on in my training, but I was more advanced in my running career at that time. Now, it's like 5 miles a week, because I don't like that endurance running anymore.
I think that's important. I could a lot of crap I was teaching Fierce today, and Logan, how's that endurance training going? I go, what? They're being snarky, because I'm not actually a big proponent of endurance training as your primary source of training. Most people know I'm a big proponent of do what you love, because that's better than doing nothing, right? But I'm not a big fan of running as your primary source of exercise, because I don't think it's as efficient, and there are repercussions to that constant repeated pattern, that constant beating of the feet on the sidewalk and on the treadmill. I think weight training is the best overall way to stay in shape, get in shape. But someone like you, little psycho, you love it. You're a little psycho. You love it, and you do cross train, especially in the interim. You know, for me, it's about goals. That's why I'm doing some endurance. There were 15 of us doing the 5 for Air climb this weekend on Sunday. I think 6 of us, you know, Renee, Kelly, Christine, I think we got a bunch of us doing. Kathy, I think, actually snuck herself in there. Who else? I think I talked Michael Kelly, one of the trainers, into doing it. There are at least 6 of us doing the hour up and down. But the reason I really encouraged our people to do that was to have a goal, especially in this kind of middle time of the challenges. Have a goal, train for that goal that will motivate you, inspire you, keep you accountable, and then give you kind of an endpoint, right? And after that endpoint, you can relax a little bit, but make sure you have a new goal. And that's something I wanted to talk about before we end here. Is after the 6-week challenge, yes, we are going to have another 6-week challenge, but that really shouldn't be your primary focus during the year, right? It should be a nice thing to help kickstart. It should be a nice thing to help maintain. It should be a nice thing to help track, but it shouldn't be your be-all, end-all in the year. So make sure, we are already thinking about what is our next thing. What is our next goal? Is it a Spartan race? Is it a CrossFit competition? Is it an inflatable 5K? Is it the Fat Ass 5K? There are 1.5 million things out there to help motivate you. So find what that is, find something specific, find something that you can measure, and then sign up, pay your money, and train for it. Don't talk about it, just do it. Even if it's a whim, do it, because that'll add an extra layer of intensity and focus into your training and into your fitness. This is the beginning of the year. We're getting into mid-February. 80% of people have already dropped off of their New Year's goals. I've stayed pretty heavy. I've actually taken on some new ones at the beginning of February, and I think a lot of you guys are there too. But make sure you're forward-thinking.
Yes.
Don't just use these challenges.
Yes.
Pick other things too. Anything else you want to say, Emily?
I have a new goal now. I mean, even though that I did my race on last Sunday in Florida, I have a vengeance because I know I should have run it faster had I been healthier. So I'm going to sign up for another couple more races in March. But my new one is that now I have to start with my weight training all over again because of the Spartan races. Can't go into that as a runner. I mean, I really can't. I have to build more muscle mass to do the Spartan races. So I'm always picking for another goal, and that even though it's always an ongoing goal, but this is going to be a stronger goal because I have to be stronger.
Well, and I think not just having like a race as your primary cycles your training too, right? And because what causes chronic injury? It's repeated patterns,
Right.
Incorrect repeated patterns. So if all you're doing is running over and over and over and over again without a reprieve, without a break from that, number one, your body gets really efficient at it. So progress happens a little slower, but also your risk of injury increases. So cycling, I'm running a little bit more this cycle. I'll be weight training a little bit more the next cycle. I'll be doing a little bit of both the cycle after that. Cycling your training is important. It's a place like Fit Club. Place like Fit Club, maybe, you spend a month doing something like Fierce, then you spend another month doing something like Zumba, then you spend a month just hitting Cycle Fit and, Dynamic. Changing it up, varying it often and always, there's a lot of benefit to that too.
Yeah. And earlier when you were talking about what their goals are, how they're feeling as of right now, I like to mention this to some of my clients about habit formation. So like habit 1, making sure that you eat at least 3 to 4 meals per day, or even including snacking, maybe possibly more depending on the person. Habit 2, master your hunger. Habit 3, eat just enough or more, depending again on the person. But eat slowly, chew thoroughly, let your brain catch up, let your brain recognize it. Habit 4, eat mostly whole foods. I want to ask you how you feel about...
Mastication?
Yes. The habit of eating just enough.
I think that's really important, something I do really, really, really poorly. I do it really bad. That's one of my weaknesses. Yeah, I like to eat till I'm full. And I eat a lot, and I can eat quick. So, but I think the healthiest way to live, and most research will back me up, is eat frequently and eat just a little less. If you do those things, we'll talk about Blue Zone, Whole Food, you can incorporate that in there too, because that's, I think, to me, number one. If you eat a diet primarily in whole foods, you eat frequently, and you eat just a little less than you want, not necessarily what you need, but you want, that's the key to longevity and overall health, avoiding things like chronic disease, and being overweight, being obese. So no, I'm about it. I'm not good at that.
Not obese.
No, I'm an obese. I still need to get my Thick Boy Nation t-shirt. I found something I really
There's
wanted.
words that I'm finding I don't know how to say, and Logan made sure to point that out. Obese is what Kurt
obese.
said. Is obese. Subcutaneous, but it's subcutaneous.
Cutaneous.
Wasn't there a third one?
Turmeric.
Turmeric.
I think there's another one. Turmeric. Yeah, turmeric.
Turmeric. I mean, I literally have to look at him, and the other night I was like, turmeric.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. It's gonna be like My Fair Emily. All right, guys, if you have questions, comments, share below. Thanks.